Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is Mark from Sound Matters. Today we're going to take a look at Fosi Audio's first venture into the turntable market. They're launching a turntable called the Lunar 3, which has started out as a fundraiser campaign to create, in true Fosi Audio style, a turntable that is hi-fi in quality but doesn't break the bank. Now, I've been sent a couple of pre-production models of this turntable before it hits the market. It is still yet to go into mass production as far as I can see. So today we're going to see how it's going. Fosi Audio have developed a superb reputation for delivering hi-fi quality products at an affordable price that won't break the bank. I've looked at several of their products on my channel already. The Box X2 phono preamp, which, while not being the most sort of natural sounding phono preamp out there, compared to a built-in phono stage, it's certainly a no-brainer for anyone who's looking for a much more exciting, much more engaging listening experience than, say, the slightly one-dimensional sound of a built-in integrated phono preamp. I've looked at the Box X5 phono pre as well. That is definitely a step up in that it gives you a much more natural sound and you get that upgrade path to moving coil phono preamps if you so wish. I've looked at the V3 monoblocks and again those really impressed me too. So overall, everything I've seen so far from Fosi Audio for the price in that area of the market has greatly impressed me. So when the news came out that they were going to enter the turntable market, my ears naturally pricked up. The Fosi Audio Lunar 3 began as a Kickstarter campaign with their usual ethos of delivering hi-fi quality products at an unmatched value for money. So the fundraiser has now actually ended, but you can still place a late pledge and get the early bird price of just under $300. On paper, this is a really exciting project. After all, Fosi has achieved fantastic things with preamps, with amplifiers, DACs, headphone amps and much more. So why not take that same ethos of affordability but high quality into the turntable market? Sounds good, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that unfortunately, from my findings so far, as things stand, it's not quite ready yet. That said, I must stress that they are still taking user feedback and this hasn't gone to mass production yet, as far as I can see. So there's still time for this to come right. But I've received 2 pre-production models now and have come across a number of repeated issues that I think need to be weeded out. I want this product to succeed for Fosi. I think they do great work. However, you know, I have to be honest with you here, from 2 products that I've received so far, I don't think it's here yet. So you can consider this not necessarily a review as such, but this is my market feedback as to where things are so far and where I think it needs to go. Firstly though, let's take a look at what Fosi is promising when it comes to the Lunar 3. Let's take a look at some of the basic specs. As you can see, you've got that classic Fosi Audio look about it with the nice orange against the black, really sharp looking. But we'll just pick out some of the key features. There's a VM95E cartridge with a detachable head shell. That's good because we can easily change the stylus, upgrade from the elliptical to the nude elliptical, for example, and beyond if you really want to. Got a really nice machined acrylic platter, a decoupled servo motor over here. It's belt drive, of course. You can adjust the anti-skating. There's a separate counterweight. It's a lightweight and rigid tone arm, or so they say here, but going for sort of something that creates, you know, less inertia, should track well in theory. There's no built-in phono preamp. I don't think really people who buy Fosi Audio products are going to want a built-in phono preamp. So this does simplify the circuitry, less to go wrong, less potential coloration of the sound. The ethos is a good one. I think, you know, the whole modular thing is really what you buy Fosi stuff for. So built-in phono preamp being omitted, I think is probably the right choice here. Minimalist look and aesthetic, yes, of course. You know, this is fairly bare bones and stripped down. It's nice and clean looking. You've got your speed adjustment over here is only the real sort of visible control for 33 or 45 or off in the middle. There are other things I can mention here. There's the orange platter is really quite stunning. It's an acrylic orange platter, which looks really cool, but it's quite unusual to put a acrylic platter mat on top of a acrylic platter. Usually with an acrylic platter you can just go straight onto the acrylic platter and you get this nice coupling effect. There's potentially a bit of a gap issue there, or if the acrylic platter has any sort of movement in it, that could cause potential resonance issues, or maybe even just sort of tracking issues generally. But I do love the aesthetic of the orange platter mat. It's very Fosi and it really does look quite striking compared to other options on the market. That's it's very, very Fosi, very them, definitely. Really, I think at this point we just need to get over to the turntable and I'll walk you through my personal experience with it so far. So here we have it, and as I say, I've received 2 pre-production models of this. The first one, they told me they had got some feedback and asked me to stop, and basically they'll send me a replacement, which they've done. The first model I received, the hinges were quite noisy. That appears to have been fixed with this model. This now works as intended and doesn't crack and creak as you open it, as it should. The other issue was the motor was quite noisy, so just going to switch this on here, move it over to get the motor to start. And I don't know how much you can hear on the camera, but that is still actually quite noisy. It's certainly noisier than I would like to hear at this price point. I think it's a little bit noisier than my Fluence, for example. So it's probably better than the other one was, but I still personally think the motor is a little bit noisier than I would like, and this becomes more noticeable when you move to 45 RPM. The other issue that I encountered was a bit of platter wobble as it was spinning. I personally don't want to see this. They suggested that this was to do with how it was designed. I don't want to see platter wobble because we're going to get wow and flutter. So there's still a little bit of platter wobble, maybe less than there was before. But I personally don't really want to see anything like that. This time around, the biggest issue actually was just how this was set up, how the phono cartridge was set up. The azimuth, I noticed, was really, really badly out. And if that wasn't bad enough, the alignment of the cartridge itself wasn't where it should be. They provide a nice little protractor like this. This comes with it. So this should be both basically the cartridge, as you probably well know, or a lot of you know, but if you don't, then obviously we need to meet the null points at 2 places to get the best possible tracking across the surface of the entire record. So this was off from the factory. So there was a little bit of a problem here, and so I noticed this when I tried to play a record and it skipped straight away. So obviously, you know, this wasn't aligned correctly. I had to stop straight away and do something about this. Now, I was able to adjust the azimuth, but it wasn't easy. There are 2 screws underneath the tone arm here. The only way I could actually get to these to be able to get enough torque on it was to actually get into the guts of this thing and actually loosen off the entire tone arm, so I could move it over to this direction here so that I could actually get some screwdriver underneath there and make the adjustment. Obviously, somebody buying at this level is not going to be expected to make that kind of adjustment. The cartridge, obviously, I'm no stranger to aligning cartridges, so I was able to get that done. So eventually I did get it up and running, but of course these quality control issues need to be weeded out before they go out to the wider market. Underneath the acrylic platter is the sub platter. This comes not installed as such. There's some polystyrene for shipping packaging that's in here that you just need to remove before you place it in there. It seems sort of well machined enough when it goes in, but there's a little bit of wiggle room there, which they say is for oil, which is possibly what's causing the platter wobble. This feels to me quite cheap compared to some of the competitors in terms of sub platters. It certainly feels a lot cheaper than some of the stuff on the market from projects. I can excuse this though, so long as it operates as it should. But as I say, I am seeing a little bit of platter wobble there, which I really don't want to see. On the plus side, the acrylic platter, now that's got some great weight to it. It's really nicely machined. That is a real success. I think that is a really nice quality acrylic platter. I would be happy with the acrylic platter if the VTA was set correctly for it to just be the acrylic platter. I like an acrylic platter, and I would like to have seen a machined in gap here for the label of the record where you get that slight raised element. But instead of that, they've incorporated that into this rather beautiful looking orange platter mat. This is an acrylic platter mat, which, while looking really visually striking and appealing, obviously does create the potential for a gap here and potential slippage. That slips quite easily. I personally, as pretty as this looks, would probably have preferred to have seen just a nice machined acrylic platter at this price point. That, of course, means you need to have the VTA adjusted so that it's designed to be operated without a mat. As for the tone arm itself, this aluminium piece feels rather nice. That's really nicely made. Just turn the motor off. That feels really nicely made, nice rigid aluminium tone arm, but these parts here feel far too plasticky for me, and there's quite a lot, look at that, there's quite a lot of play in that bearing. It moves far too much, there's far too much area and room for resonance for my liking in that particular tone arm. I just don't like the way the bass feels. It just feels quite plasticky. The armrest and the clip is a welcome addition, of course. This feels fine to use, but I just feel that compared to a Fluence tone arm at this sort of price point, it just feels a little bit off for me as well. The Q lever is okay, but again, this doesn't feel very nice to use. It has a very nice smooth damping operation. I have to say that does work rather well. So it's nice in terms of the operation. You know, drop the lever down onto a record. Of course, we don't have one on there at the moment, but just for demonstration, that descends really nice and smooth. That's what we want to see. So that element is good. It just has a kind of cheap feel to it compared to this lovely machined, or sort of matte finish, I should say, really, plinth. The feel of and look and feel of that, it just has a slightly cheap feel for me. The buttons on the front, they're okay. I don't mind those so much, but I do prefer the look and feel of the dial on a Fluence in comparison. I'm drawing comparisons here because I just feel that that's probably the closest on the market in terms of what they're going for here. Just taking a look at the rear here, just so you can see what's basically going on. And we've got nice quality output terminals here. Those feel really well made, really good quality spec on those for this price point. Nice quality grounding post as well. There's a trigger output, which is great, which is really interesting. So if you've got that capability in your system, that's nice to have as well. Speed control here as well. Obviously this is your input for the power. And then the auto stop function. So this does have an auto stop. It will auto stop the record at the end of a side, but we can turn that off. I normally leave these off. I'm not big on them, but if you do have a tendency to fall asleep whilst listening to your records, they can be helpful to save stylus life, but you can easily switch that on. Nice to see that this is a nice rocker switch actually, rather than a button or anything cheap. That feels nice and high quality. I like that. You don't see enough of that. You often see very cheap push switches which often don't have much of a life on them, or just don't feel very nice to use. But yeah, in terms of the back here, pretty plain and simple really. Just thought I'd show you that so you know what's going on and what the functionality is that it has. So I hope that's taken in the right way by Fosi Audio. I really hope they get there with this product. But what I will stress, and what is to be commended, is that by sending these products out to market for real user feedback, they are showing they are serious about developing something that is fit and ready for market and serves what people actually want to see. And I think you can see that further in the updates they provided through the fundraiser process. I really hope they can iron out some of these elements and finally get to something that, serves their brand justice, because I really do like what Fosi Audio do, and everything I've seen from them up until this point, I have genuinely been impressed with for the money. But as it stands at the moment, there are just a few things that I just say it just doesn't seem ready. The plaster wobbling, they say that is part of the design in the updates, but you're surely going to get wow and flutter when a record is moving like this. To me, that is a fault, and that needs to be corrected. The quality control issues with the setup, the azimuth issue I had, and the cartridge alignment, that needs to be ironed out. Users at this level are not going to be wanting to do what I did to get the turntable operational. So that needs to be be sorted too. Looking at competitors on the market, and I think they're pitching this somewhere around that kind of Fluence area, so $300, so it's around that kind of Fluence offering, and the kind of spec that they're showing here seems to be offering something that is a competitor to Fluence on the market at the moment. Comparing their tone arm though, compared to the Fluence offering and the general look and feel of the product, at the moment as it stands, I just can't see why I would choose this over a Fluence, but that's just my honest assessment at this point. I think there's some fantastic elements. I think it's really got legs. There's a lot going for it, but there's also a lot that needs ironing out. And yes, to repeat myself, it just ain't ready for market yet, but I think it could get there with a few adjustments. And the door certainly remains open. I hope to give Fosi Audio a positive turntable review in the future, but just at the moment, that can't be done. It's just the way it is. This is how I go about reviews. It's not, is this product right for me? It's more, who is this product for and does it serve them? Is it there yet? What are the pros and cons? Can I recommend it to that target audience? Not necessarily would I keep it in my setup. That's how I go about things. I hope you find that useful. If you'd like to support me here at the channel in terms of what I do, there's always the discount codes in the description of every video where you can get money off vinyl gear to serve your hobby and your love of music going forward. In fact, there's actually even a Fosi Audio discount down there because I do really like their products, but just not this one at the moment. So I hope you found it useful. If you're new to this channel, please do consider subscribing as well. There's my Patreon page if you want to get bonus content and join my exclusive community over there as well. Head over to the link again in the description. Check it out. I'd love to see you on the other side. Until the next video, guys, keep on spinning, keep enjoying the music, and I'll see you then. Cheers.